Yeah. Come on, mamas. Howdy, folks. My name's Christian, and welcome to Bullish on Farming. Today, just gonna move the main herd. Let's go, mamas. And I posted a video yesterday of this laneway slash bush that we grazed. And we came from a pasture field way down there. And I was talking about how there were some thicker blade grasses, some of the marshy style grasses that the cattle don't really, it's not their first choice, but they grazed it right down. And with enough pressure, 24 hours was perfect. We got it grazed. You can see we've grazed it a little low in some areas here, but this isn't necessarily a pasture. We do give it 70 days of rest. That's it, mamas. But we don't mind grazing a bit harder because this is a wilder section. And hey, it happens. It's gonna be, cattle won't be on here again for the rest of the year. And what they're moving to now is a field with 140 days of rest. Yeah, and they're gonna be happy about it. This was a field that on our second lap I hopped over. There were two of them. Just didn't have what we were looking for to put our cattle on it. And so we invested some more time into rest period to give us a nice solid third lap. And now the mums and their calves are moving off to fresh green. And they're happy about it. Talking about how we're really happy with this grazing year in previous videos. Our calves are full. And our steers that are running with the group, we got 8 steers with the herd here. They are putting on pounds. And the mums are keeping great conditioning, which are probably around 2 to 3 months pregnant and all carrying a calf between 3 to 6 months. Majority of them around 5 to 6 months here, 5 to 6 months old. And so in the previous field or video, I talked about how we were going to strip graze this. And I went with our standard size of 50 yards by 150, which is how I graze our pastures, leaving perfect length on top for us to come back after 70 days. And the reason why I did that is because I want to evaluate it tomorrow. I had the luxury of keeping this section open, and the cattle won't go back there to graze much because what they have in here is fresher and so much better. But I did that because I have their water down the laneway that way. And instead of changing everything, I'm going to just leave it for today and evaluate this paddock. And if it can go for another half day, I'll move them in the afternoon tomorrow into a paddock that's sized down about 10 yards. And if I leave them here another half day, I might roll out a bale of hay. We do want to be getting some trampling in these areas because they do get some of the marshy grasses that when we move on will be sticking around. So rolling out some hay and keeping the cattle on here another half day would be good for the trampling effect we're going to be getting. And this was a field we did that too on first lap because it's the last couple fields we hit. You can see how full this field is. On first lap, this all matured to seed head pretty much. And we strip grazed it and trampled down tons of carbon. And when you look at the ground, you can't find soil. And that's what we're going to be doing year after year when the time's right. Not always at the beginning of the year. It was just what we were working with. Trampling down carbon. Because we're getting, I looked at the forecast, next 14 days, we got about 10 days of rain. And so, these fields are ready to take it. Some areas that are a little bit more bare will roll out the carbon on. But if you take a look down here, you're finding it's all carbon. So that's giving us that carbon armor to insulate the soil from the direct impact of the hoof. And it's going to be retaining moisture. Not that we're really looking for it to grow out for another grazing this year, but that feature stays with your land and compounds year after year, so you know your moisture retention is increasing year after year. And so we don't just think about feeding our animals with the land, folks. We think about how we can feed our animals and how managing our animals can give back to the land and essentially feed the land so that it can, in return, become more fertile and produce more and feed our animals more. And taking a look down, you know, great forage density in this field. And you know, there's gonna be some areas you can find soil. I can't really find it. There's a bit there, very tiny. But this is the type of work we want to keep doing on this field, keeping that carbon layer on top. We do not want to till our strong pastures ever. Folks who are used to, you know, rotating their pastures and tilling it up and rotating it with hay, that makes sense if you have to produce hay. But I would say that if you have strong pastures, the regenerative way is to keep compounding fertility. You don't ever want to rip up the soil and break up the biodynamics that's going on down there. I mean, folks, look how lush and thick this feed is. You know how long it takes to get there sometimes after seeding a pasture? All depends on the field you're working with, what type of drainage it gets, if there's slopes. So you can see here, little weak section. And, you know, spread a little bit of hay there and roll out the bale to find more sections that need some love. But happy with this side of the field. Okay, so as we get over here, it's a little bit more bare. You can see as I look down, there's some more bare soil. This is all stuff you want to be spreading carbon on. Spreading hay and letting the cattle feed from it and fertilize it. And feed the soil, baby. So yeah, folks, as you can see, it's raining. Rain or shine, we're out here for the love of the game. And well, there'll be time for downtime today, but hardly do I ever want to miss out on the time with cattle. And glad to bring you guys along. God bless. So yeah, we'll keep you posted as we graze these next fields. Really excited to see, because these are weaker fields, folks. In the spring they came up and I wasn't too impressed, but we did the best we could. Bale grazed them on first lap in some weaker areas after strip grazing it, and trampled down as much carbon as we could. And the cattle eating seed head, you know, they pooped it out, and who knows what that did. We were looking at seeding our pastures with the cattle too. And if you don't think cattle eat seed head, go back a few months in our videos and you'll see with enough pressure, we had our cattle eating seed head. And that drops in their poop, and that's a nice seed bank right there. Add it to the litter bank, add it to the seed bank. And we're compounding fertility day after day, the regenerative way. I like that. Okay, folks, thanks for stopping by. God bless. See you on the next one.